Hey love, and welcome back to another video. My name is Pauline. I am your virtual lock educator and your virtual lock mentor. So if you are new here, welcome, welcome. If you're not, thanks for hanging in there and sticking with me, okay? So today I'm going to be talking about breakage and shedding in colored hair. So if you color your hair, you bleach your hair, keep watching. This video is for you. If you're thinking about coloring, you are entertaining the idea, keep watching because you can learn something here, okay? So we're gonna dive straight into it. If you have not seen my other videos on the difference between shedding and breakage, go it was posted like 2 weeks ago. If you missed the video about your ends, why your ends break in your locks, I posted that video prior to this one. So there are a lot of, videos out there. So go and watch after this one and get all caught up, okay? But this channel is all about your lock tips, business, and everything, okay? So we're gonna dive straight into it. And I have my notes to keep me on track and focused. Because I'm a squirrel, y'all. I ain't gonna even lie, I'm a squirrel. People experience breakage, shedding in their locks after they've colored their hair. So, or, you've colored your hair, now you're like, my hair is breaking, okay? What am I supposed to do and why is this happening, okay? So, here are some reasons why you may experience breakage, shedding in your locks, your colored locks, okay? So, first reason is it was a bad color job. It was a bad color job. The person didn't know what they were doing. It could have been the color strength was too strong for your hair type. It could be the brand in itself. Some brands are just, not all brands are created equal. You probably bought a store-bought color, because I hear people tell me, some of my clients tell me all the time, I colored my hair, but I didn't bleach it. I'm like, what do you mean you didn't bleach it? They'll say, well, the color, I just put a color on it. There's no bleach. And I'm like, your hair had to have been bleached to get that light to that level. And they're like, well, I didn't buy it bleached separately or anything like that. Or, your thing came in a kit and you didn't realize what you were putting in it was a bleaching component. So there are some colors out there. It's not going to say just bleach, but there are some colors out there that's going to bleach your hair and you don't even know it, okay? So there are a couple of reasons why you can have breakage. Some hair color have like metal and other particles in there. When it interacts with another object, we'll go into that later, it can cause a breakage, okay? So that's one reason why you might experience breakage in your lock. It was a bad color job. Another reason, it could be over-processing could be a reason why your locks are break off. And over-processing could be leaving it too long, using a higher level that your hair, it might be a higher color level that your hair is not used to or can't handle because of your hair being fine, okay? So that could be one thing. Another reason is when the color is in your hair and you go to rinse it out, it wasn't rinsed out well, meaning all the color wasn't rinsed out of your hair. So there's still color remaining, and so it's embedded so it dries and it's embedded into your lock strand. And anytime products, chemical or stuff like that's embedded over time, it's going to cause breakage, okay? So that's look at my cute pin, y'all. So that's one of the reasons why you could experience breakage. Another reason why you might experience breakage is that you're coloring your hair too often. So let's say you bleach your hair 3 weeks ago, and then you're going to bleach it in like less than a month again. You're going to bleach it because you're trying to get it lighter. If you're going to do a process like that, please leave it to the professional. Leave it to the professional, okay? Because there are things that they can do to get your hair lighter and in just one sitting without doing too much damage. Keep in mind, color is damaging, period, okay? Because it's a chemical. It's a chemical, so color is going to be damaging, period. But a professional knows how to prevent it from breaking, and so forth. Okay, so coloring too often, and sometimes when you might say, I don't color often, but I'm still experiencing breakage. What might be happening, do I have my mannequin? What might be happening is, let's just say this is a strand of your lock, right? So let's say you colored the whole strip, right, of your locks. So you colored it, you bleached it, you went blonde, okay? Let's say about several months later, like 5 months later, you go and color the new growth, but you overlap the previous color, and that might cause that color, that part that got overlapped, now it's been colored twice. And so you're thinking you're coloring just the new growth. Now you colored the portion that has been colored already, and that strength and the level and the, maybe if your locks are too thin, you have fine hair, that can create breakage, because now that area has been processed twice. Okay, so that can create breakage, coloring too often. Another reason why your locks may break off is that you get your hair colored, it's great, no breakage or anything like that. It's looking good, we're doing good, right? But then you're not moisturizing your hair enough, so that creates, that causes your hair to get dry, and once it gets dry, it breaks. There's no, elasticity. Keep in mind, when you color your hair, it loosens the curl pattern. It minimizes some of the elasticity in your hair, so it's not as stretchable or flexible. And so you're not putting moisture in that hair. It's getting dry and all that stuff. Yeah, it's going to break if you're not going to care for your hair after you color. So lack of moisture can create breakage in your locks, okay? Another reason why your hair might break is that your hair was too fine to begin with to even put color in it. Some people's strands are thicker than others. So when we talk about the strand of the hair, the thickness is the thickness of the individual strand. Some people have all 3 layers of the hair structure. Some of you guys only have 2. So people with finer hair can't handle certain levels of color, can't handle certain strength. So when you have finer hair, you might experience breakage because your hair can't handle color like that. So that's something to consider. So I believe I've covered all of the reasons why your hair would break during the coloring process, after the coloring process, and so forth. Okay. So I'm gonna give y'all a little story. I'm gonna tell y'all a little story, okay? Because your girl ain't perfect. So when I started coloring, right? When I started coloring locks, and this is why it's so important to do a I've learned a lot. So this is why I know some things. I'm not going to claim that I know everything, but experience is your greatest teacher, right? So my sister, not Kidma, y'all know Kidma, but my older sister wanted to color her hair. Pauline, I want to color my hair and da-da-da. Please, please, please color my hair. I'm new to color. I'm like, okay, I know a little something. I can color your locks. And I've been coloring my locks, and I've colored other people's locks before. So it's not like she was my first guinea pig. Okay. So she saw my hair color. She's seen other colors I've done with other folks. And she's like, Pauline, I want you to color my hair. I want it done for my birthday. I'm like, okay, cool. So she came up. I knew she's been coloring her hair jet black, but I did not know the brand she was using. And that's my fault, because I didn't ask all the proper questions that I need to ask to research the brand she was using, just to see what's in it, right? So I go and I'm like, okay, I know I'm going to have to go in now, because she's been coloring with jet black. I know I couldn't go in with a level 10. I knew I couldn't go in with a level 20. Well, I started off with a level 20 because I was like, no, she got fine, low density hair. So we already got that working against us, but I had to remove the black. She's been coloring black. And so I'm like, okay. So I go with a level 10. It brought it up to like a chocolate brown. She's like, I want it lighter. And I'm like, girl, you've been doing jet black in your hair. I got to ease into this, right? But folks pushing, and I give into peer pressure, and I'm like, okay, fine. So I go in with I can't remember the exact level because this was a long time ago. I went in with like either a 30 or 40 to get it lighter, right? To get it to the color she wanted. And I did it, and I did the whole foil paper on her hair and everything. I'm like, okay. Then I'm like, ooh, mind you. And I sat down and I'm watching her hair and I'm checking on it. And so I sat down again and I go back to check. I'm like, ooh, this is a little warm. I'm like, ooh, this ain't working. This is warm. I'm like, okay, it's working good. And I sit back down and I'm like, oh, this is foaming a lot. The second time I checked it, the foil paper is expanding. I'm like, this is foaming a lot. Now, mind you, I've never seen nothing like this before. So I'm thinking this is working really well, right? I go and I'm like, okay, this is foaming a lot. And I'm like, I guess it's really working. I'm like, girl, you about to get your color, baby. You about to get the color. So I said, okay, time was up. We go to process. We go to wash the color out. And I'm like, oh, your hair soft? I said, I've never felt locks this soft. Oh, your locks are soft. Okay. And I'm like, ooh, this is too soft. Ooh, this is mushy. Child, why did my sister's locks fell out in the bowl? Her locks fell out in the bowl. And I'm like, Lord, first of all, I was like, thank you, Lord, this is my sister. Secondly, I'm like, how am I going to tell her that? Mind you, my sister had tailbone length hair at the time. So thank God that she had grown out her hair. She hadn't colored her hair in a jet black for a while. So the new growth was not, she had maybe about 6 inches of new growth, so it wasn't affected as much, right? And then the other like 6 inches had been colored jet black once, but the rest of the hair was colored jet black several times, because every time she colors her hair jet black, she's going over the entire locks, right? From root to tip. So the longer part is the oldest part, right? So the oldest part has been colored the most. So the effects from the part that was colored the most had the most damage. So I'm at the shampoo bowl. I'm like, sis, so your hair, it's really soft. It's a little mushy. Some of it is breaking. She's like, what? I'm like, yeah, some of it is breaking, but I'm gonna fix it. We laugh about it now, but we weren't laughing that week because I was like, oh my God, is my sister gonna lose all her hair? So needless to say, by the time she started off with tailbone length, her locks broke off like around the shoulder length. A lot of them broke off so much that I had to give her a haircut. So she went from tailbone length hair to about shoulder length hair. So now I had to nurse her hair back to health. But I was really, y'all, that almost ended my coloring career, because I was like, I'm not about to color another soul's hair, because what in the world? I've been coloring folks' hair. It's been good. I've colored my hair and it was good. At that point, I realized the importance of the consultation and how deep I need to go into doing consultations, because y'all don't be giving us the right answers we're looking for. So I had to really curate the questions in a way that I would get the answers that I'm looking for. Because I'll ask y'all, have you colored your hair before? No, I've never colored my hair. Or I haven't colored in 5 years. I'm like, well, have you cut your hair in 5 years? No, but I ain't got color in my hair. I said, well, if you hadn't cut your hair, the color is still in your hair, because the part that was colored is still attached to your hair. Like, y'all don't be understanding stuff. And it's okay, because you're not the expert. You don't know nothing. I'm the expert, so I need to make sure I'm asking the right questions, because we can only work with what you give us. And at the time, I did not know enough to ask her about the brand of color she was using. When she told me the name of the color, after everything, I was like, what's the color you were using? And I went and I researched, look at what's in it. It had metal, it had aluminum, it had all this stuff, because it's store-bought color. It had all this stuff in it that does not interact well with bleach and all this other stuff. I'm used to using professional color. And so although I was using professional color, my professional color interacting with her store-bought color was not having it, okay? So I was looking at the stuff and what caused it to break, what I should have done differently, and Child, baby. I learned so much from that experience. Eventually, I gained my confidence back to to start coloring again. But I'm not hesitant. It's just, I make sure I'm asking all the questions, okay? I'm asking all the questions because y'all not about to come in here and have me take your hair out because you failed to give me one little detail, or you tell me you don't color, and I'm like, I've had a client, oh, I haven't put color in my hair. You never put any color? Okay. So I'm working with your natural virgin hair? Uh-huh. I go color. Why if this is the length of the lock, from here to here, color took. From here, it was still like almost black. I said, you have color on your ends. That's why that part ain't take. Oh, girl, but that was about 3 years ago. Did you cut your hair 3 years ago? No. Then the ends took. Boy, I'm like, okay. All right. Okay. Whew. So I've learned a lot. Okay. So this is why I can tell y'all, if y'all don't do certain things right, your hair gonna break. So a bad color job can cause your hair to break. Just to recap, over processing can cause it to break. Using bad colors, the color brands, you're not using the right color brands and so forth. Don't ask me about no color brands, store-bought, nothing, because I don't use store-bought colors and I don't know nothing about store-bought colors. When I went to cosmetology school, I learned about professional brands, and the cosmetology school, if they use one color line, they're only teaching you about just one color line. So I stick with professional stuff because, baby, I ain't got time for nobody hair to be falling out in my bowl, okay, like it did with my sister. And I'm so happy it happened with my sister. But we got her hair back. Her hair is flourishing. It's back. Child, she stayed that copper blonde for a while, and then she eventually went back to jet black. Now that she went back to jet black and she's using her same little bootleg color, I said, don't come back to me talking about you want your hair lighter because you went back to jet black. Ain't nobody about to go through that no more, okay? So just be careful of how you're caring for your locks, what you're doing, and so forth, okay? So next, now, after you color your hair, if it's not breaking, if you're experiencing shedding, it might be, keep in mind, your locks might experience some shedding after coloring because, one, your hair is always shedding inside of the lock. Whether you're locked or not, your hair is always shedding. Yet each strand is on its own growth cycle. It's on its own journey, right? So your hair is always shedding inside of the lock. So because your hair is shedding inside of the lock, when you go to color your hair, the chemical loosens your curl pattern. So when it loosens your curl pattern, the shedded hair that's not attached to your scalp is moving. It's, there's movement going on. So because there's movement going on, if your ends of your lock isn't locked, that movement that's going on with that loose, free strand in the lock, it might wiggle out of the lock. So you might, when you run your fingers through, you might see some loose strands coming out because the hair that shedded in your lock, when your curl pattern loosened, it made room for movement. So because of that, the loose strand will wiggle its way out of the lock. That is normal. If you're experiencing that, don't freak out. It's just loose hair that is not attached to your scalp that is saying bye-bye to you because you made room for it to move, okay? You made room for it to move out, so it's moving out, okay? Another reason why you will experience shedding, if you're like me, I color and cut my hair often. So I will cut into the shape I want it, and then I go in color. Now, because I cut my hair, it opens up the ends of my hair. And so because I go in color after cutting, I am loosening the curl pattern and the ends are open, which is opening the door for shedded hair to escape. So I already opened the door for the hair to escape by me cutting it. And then I go ahead and color it on top of that, which loosens the curl pattern that creates even more room for movement for that loose hair to move on out. So that is another reason why you will experience shedding in your locks, and that is normal. Now, the third type of shedding you will experience in your lock, it could be from breakage. So sometimes you will experience breakage from color, but the breakage it might not be the entire lock, depending on how thick your lock is, right? Depending on how thick the strand of the lock is. Some strands might break off from the color in the lock, and those strands will work its way out, right? Now, if a lot of the strands break all at once, or, you know, in a short period of time, over time, then you will experience breakage, you know, somewhere in between your lock or whatever. But if the color causes it to break, if it's just few strands, it's going to work its way out the lock. If it's a whole, if it's a lot of strands in the lock, then that's when you start getting the separation from, you know, half of your lock is gone. Okay. So that's when you will experience shedding in the lock. Now, how to avoid and minimize shedding in your lock. Let's review. Let's go over that. Because y'all know I got to leave y'all with some hope. Because y'all thinking, Pauline, how you always coloring your hair and you're not having no problems? You got to know what to do, okay? All right. So how to avoid and minimize shedding in your lock. One, you want to make sure you are using moisturizing shampoos and conditioners if you're coloring your hair. Okay? You don't want to use some detox shampoo. You don't want to use some clarifying shampoo. Some clarifying shampoo is good, but keep in mind, some clarifying shampoos, depending on what brand you go with, have different strengths. Okay, they have different agents in there that is more harsh than others. So some clarifying shampoo, also known as deep cleansing shampoo, may be okay for your colored locks, but some aren't. Like Suave is not the best thing for your colored locks. Okay, but Influence deep cleansing shampoo will be okay, right? Because I use that in my head and we do just fine. Okay, so you just got to know if you're gonna clarify, then use the moisturizing shampoo. You just got to be cautious about what clarifying shampoo you're using. And once you're done with that, move into your moisturizing shampoo, your moisturizing conditioner, okay? Because your hair needs moisture at this point. Moisturize, moisturize, moisturize when you have colored locks, okay? So properly moisturize, use moisturizing shampoos and conditioners for your lock. Your locks need consistent moisture. So after shampooing and conditioning your locks, you want to make sure you are using consistent moisture throughout on your hair in between the shampoo periods, right? So you want to make sure you're using a leave-in conditioner. You can use water-based leave-in conditioners where it's not too heavy, right? It's not too heavy, it's not too oily, it's not too thick. So you can use that daily if you want without creating buildup on your locks, but it is just enough to give you some moisture without creating the buildup and leaving residue, okay? If you need a good leave-in conditioner, check out my online store. I have the Cocoa Almond Leave-In Conditioner, Chef Kiss, okay? That is like the #1 seller of my leave-in conditioners. Aloe vera based leave-in conditioner that is great for your locks too. So whether you are newly locked or mature lock, both conditioners are good for you. You can also use rose water to spray in your hair often. You can use it daily. Now, some of y'all, I sell rose water in my on my online store as well. So rose water is good for it, but my rose water is just plain rose water. Very clean. You can use it on your hair. You can use it on your face. You can use it as a room spray because it's just rose water. Now, some of y'all be like, oh, I know this place that sell this good rose water, but it got glycerin, it's heavy in glycerin or heavy in some other oils because some rose waters aren't just rose water. So you got to make sure you're looking at the ingredients. So if you are newly locked and you're trying to keep your locks, if you colored before you locked, now you are a newly locked colored person, and you go use rose water that got a bunch of other ingredients in it, it's not going to be good for your hair because it's going to over moisturize. It's going to cause slippage and all this other stuff. And child, you're going to end up spending more money trying to fix more slippage. Okay. So just stick with just rose water. So if you want one that's just with rose water, it's on my site. The link of my products is in my description. Okay. So make sure you moisturize in between the shampooing periods. Okay. And also you can do steam treatments to take care of your colored locks. And when I say steam treatment, y'all, don't go get the facial steam treatment and try to do it on your hair. The facial steam treatment molecules are bigger than the hair steam treatment. The facial steam treatment, they're bigger because we have bigger pores on our skin, so it can penetrate easily with no problem. But if you're using that facial steam on your hair, the molecules in your hair, the cuticles, it's not that the pores is not that open. It's tighter, so them things ain't gonna get in there. So get you a hair steam treatment with smaller molecules so it can penetrate even better to give you maximum moisture. Okay, so those are the things that you can do to care for your locks, to care for your colored locks, to make sure you're not losing your locks, to make sure they're not breaking off, and so forth. Okay. If you're like, man, Pauline, I wish you would have did this video like 6 months ago. My locks done broke off and I got them and I want to reattach them. Don't even bother. Do not reattach damaged locks to your locks, okay? Because if the lock is damaged and you reattach, there's going to be different parts of the locks breaking, okay? So do not reattach damaged locks. Now, if you want to get you some faux, the pre-made lock extensions that is not damaged and you want to put it on your locks, on your hair where there's no damage in that area, you can. But do not put damaged locks, reattach damaged locks back on your hair, okay? I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please, let's continue the conversation in the comment section. If you got any questions, ask questions. I'm an open book. Comment, like, subscribe, do all that stuff, share. Let's keep this going, okay? I love y'all, and I'll see y'all in the comments.